Phoenix Suns offseason outlook. Um, there was a lot of hype around the roster construction. Well, not the roster construction, but more so the the big three aspect of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. So obviously last year, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker took Denver Nuggets. I don't say took them to the brink, but they gave them the biggest challenge out of every team last year that the Nuggets went through to be NBA champions. So likewise, one would think that adding an additional scorer to those two would provide some more help for the Phoenix Suns to perform better for this particular season. And for a while, it was up and down. They have great stretches, and then they have poor stretches. And so once they got to the postseason, they literally had probably their worst stretch of basketball. Kevin Durant played decently. Devin Booker was kind of up and down. Bradley Beal had way more downs than ups. And so I tweeted on Twitter and said that this team, they cannot come back next season with the exact same roster. One, because they have no role players at all. They have like Nurkic, no. These other players like Kogi and whoever's on the bench, I don't even know. Just no. And you didn't really get anything out of Bradley Beal as a playmaker as what they thought they were going to do. And I actually have the quote from I think it was from Chris Haynes with Yahoo, and he was saying how Frank Vogel but James Jones, the GM for the Phoenix Suns, didn't want them to bring a point guard in because that takes the ball out of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal's hands. He said, "I know Frank Vogel wanted the point guard on the roster, and the front office believe bring the point guard, take the ball out of the big three's hands." Yeah, so basically that's what I said. So my thinking is this: you literally have to trade somebody in order to get assets. Why? Because you don't have a draft pick until 2031. That's 7 years from now, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have a first round draft pick or a second round draft pick until 2031. For those of you who don't know about me, I have a daughter. She was born in 2021. They won't have a first round pick until my daughter is 10 years old. So, gentlemen, now I'm putting the ball in y'all's court. Who should the Phoenix Suns trade in order to get assets for the future creation of their roster? Are they trading Kevin Durant? Are they trading Devin Booker? Or are they trading Bradley Beal? Because somebody got to go, in my opinion. Somebody has to go in order to get draft picks. Who is it?
Well, we'll be honest here.
I'm not talking. You got to cheat.
Oh no. See, that's not how I was going to start. What I was going to say was, of the big three, we know one of them has a no trade clause still in his contract, which is Bradley Beal. That leaves two people. Even when I was talking to, and this is crazy that you talked about your daughter being 10, my son just turned 8, and I just was talking basketball with him about this. You can't trade Devin Booker either. Devin Booker is Phoenix. I'm sorry. And I would love for him to maybe find a ring with Phoenix, or if not, just play his whole career in Phoenix, do what he does. But Kevin Durant is who needs to be traded. And because Kevin Durant, of those three names that you just named, Kevin Durant will demand and command the most attention, the most draft picks, the most player value, as opposed to the other two. Now, money-wise, I think Bradley Beal is actually making more possibly than Kevin Durant, just because I think he was able to sign that huge extension with the Wizards. And since he's been with them, his tenure, and then you got Devin Booker, who's got his tenure with the Suns. I think Kevin Durant is like second with salary. But you go find a point guard immediately, and something else with bench. Also, never mind. You just asked about the two players who will be traded. I'll leave it at that, and we can come back to the Suns talk because we're not done.
My honest opinion, since I am forced to be here to talk contractually, if you want me to be completely honest, I can't answer that, and I don't think the Suns can answer that as well, because I think they're probably, as they should, take the best deal available. You can't trade Bradley Beal, but in a way you can, because a no trade clause meaning he can determine where he goes. So if he finds a situation that'll be able to take his contract, he may say yes to it. Will he? Probably not, because I love being out here in Phoenix, and I'm pretty sure he does too. So you got to take that away. I did talk to my guy Damian Adams, who's a reporter out here with the Suns. Of course, you got to tap in with him. And if you want both of us to be completely honest, I did tell him, hey, Kevin Durant is more likely to be traded. But if I'm the Suns, I am going to field calls for Devin Booker. Of course, Devin Booker is Phoenix, but if you think about what you literally just said, Savage, they won't have a draft pick until your daughter is 10, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even know that information until coming to this episode. So now I'm looking like you probably will have to get what you can, especially with the new ownership. Y'all know I look into the business side too. It's new ownership. There is no loyalty between Devin Booker and a new loyalty and a new ownership. So if I got calls, if I'm receiving calls and I'm getting the most for Devin Booker, I may have to go ahead and pull that plug, because again, that's $660 million between the three of them. One of them will not be back for sure. Of course, you can get a lot for Kevin Durant. Don't get me wrong. But if you asking who at least performed in they ass whooping against the Ant-Man and the Timberwolves, it was Kevin Durant. So am I really wanting to trade the best player on the court? So like I said, if I'm the Suns, I'm feeling offers for both. But if I had to make a choice right now, even though Devin Booker is the Phoenix Suns, he's the youngest, and I think you can get the most for him. And if I'm new ownership, and I'm more than likely about to get a new coach too, we ain't got no loyalty to Devin Booker. So there you have it, folks.
I think we're headed towards a fire sale. I think that originally too, when I thought about this question, Durant's the most common sense answer. But I earlier today I put up my original comment about last year about Booker being upset about Monty Williams being fired, and that was his guy. Like, that was my coach. Like, that kind of literally helped me to the NBA Finals if I'm Devin Booker. And so I think Devin Booker's got to be like, what the hell's going on, bro? Like, we went from being up 2-0 against the Bucks, about to win a championship, and then we lost 4 in a row. Which, I mean, Giannis went crazy. We know that. But like, after that, we end up going to get KD mid-season, and KD was undefeated in the games that he played with Devin Booker. Got to the playoffs. We played the Nuggets better than anybody else, and then fired the coach. So the coach gets fired more times than not because of the new management. We know that. But it's like, okay, you bring in Frank Vogel, and now Frank Vogel's there. He's not able to do what he wants to do to be an effective coach. So you're being pulled in too many directions if you're Devin Booker. There is no consistency, and there honestly won't be consistency for the next 7 years. So if I'm Booker, I'm in the prime of my career. I'm 27 years old. I just got whooped by my old college teammate, Cat, and I see Ant-Man, they having a great time. I'm over here, I'm miserable because Kevin Durant is here. So if I had to put it in order of who getting traded, I think Devin Booker should ask for a trade. Not saying that he will. I think he should ask for a trade, because there's going to be a better situation somewhere in the NBA where you will have less, BS going on. And honestly, there are teams that have several draft picks. Oklahoma City Thunder, 15 first-round picks. If I can add Devin Booker to that and have him with Shea, I'll be okay with that. Or if I'm like any other team that got a lot of draft picks, I think can Brooklyn take Devin Booker now? We can just swap that thing back out again or something. Yeah, I think it's gonna be Booker, KD. And I think Brad Beal is really enough to be the only one that's gonna stay with Phoenix, because I think Beal, you're not gonna find a good suitor for Bradley Beal right now. His value is super duper low based on what we've seen from him in that third slot. At the same time, I think Bradley Beal could be way better as a number 2 option than a number 3 option. It's kind of weird with Brad Beal. So does Phoenix want to keep it with Bradley Beal as number 2, keep KD as your main guy, and then trade Booker for picks and maybe a point guard? That might be ideal. But they got to do something. Like, if they come back next year with this exact same roster, they might F around and not make the playoffs. Because the young teams we'll get into later, all them teams are coming next year. All of them. And Phoenix has no bench at all. None.
2 questions. You kind of got me on one. So the one question, real quick, do y'all feel like people would the Suns could get more for Booker or more for KD?
I think Booker. I say Booker.
Yeah, and I've said that.
But it also depends on who trading though. It depends on who trade for Kevin Durant. 'Cause somebody might be desperate. I saw something around there, but they think that it might be like a KD, LeBron, and Steph situation, which that would be awful. Like, no. That's a
Only for the
whole ass
Olympics,
thing.
ladies and gentlemen. Only for the
Yeah,
Olympics.
Not for no 82 games in the race. No. But it depends
And
on who trade for KD.
question number 2, you just called Devin Booker miserable because he's playing with Kevin Durant. Elaborate, please. Because again, he was the best player on that team in this playoffs, and if you want to be real about it, last playoffs as well. Like he showed up.
Yeah, he did. But I think it's kind of like for me, like the LeBron effect. It's like what comes with Kevin Durant. So what comes with Kevin Durant is like his personality in terms of like I don't really know how to describe Kevin Durant. I'm not saying he's a malcontent, but he moved a little different, if you know what I mean. He moved different like than a regular player. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's great. He's very like he's a basketball savant. I ain't gonna disrespect Kevin Durant, but like what it takes to have Kevin Durant makes it miserable. The same way what it takes to have LeBron James also makes it miserable to where you can't construct a feasible roster around these players. I can't think of the last time Kevin Durant has had like an overall roster built around him since the Golden State Warriors, who is a franchise that know what they're doing to build a roster. Same with Oklahoma City prior to Kevin Durant leaving to go to Golden State. Brooklyn was bad forever. And then Phoenix was bad, or is bad, these past 2 years. Last year was kind of okay, but I gave them grace mid-season before they fired Monty Williams. I'm like, okay, you have Kevin Durant for a full offseason, figure out the offense, keep Monty Williams up by firing Monty Williams. So it was like, well, you got a new coach now that got to get these players acclimated. Then you bring in Bradley Beal. So it was just like a whole clusterfuck, honestly.
Should you got something?
I was gonna say, man, and honestly, the best bench player realistically also kind of really spoke out, and that was I was about to call him the wrong Gordon, Eric Gordon. He was talking about how he was hurt about his touch or not content with his touches. It was like mid-season to almost the end of the season. Excuse me, saying that. So I agree that. I'm not gonna say that Devin Booker is miserable. That word is strong, but I see that he's not happy. He's not content. He's not playing the way he was prior to Kevin Booker. Before Kevin Durant got there. And then it's like you also look at you got those three players. Big three is 150 million next season. Then Grayson Allen and Nurkic, who I don't even know, was he in the playoffs? Did anybody see him?
Getting work. Cat working his ass.
And he has the worst winning percentage, I think, of any active player in the playoffs, by the way. Trash.
Nigga, bomb. Trash.
So those 5 salaries right there is almost 200 million. It's like 100 and maybe 70 or 175 million. To get swept in the first round.
Speaking of that, man, like, we'll get into it later, but like no answer for Anthony Edwards at all. Like no double, no no hard fouls. Just get dunked on.
Ain't Frank a defensive coach? I thought he was a defensive coach.
I thought he was too. He ain't no dogs though. Yeah, no dogs that want to do anything. None. 0 dogs. So